quick intro about me. My name is Kim Fisher. I am a yoga expert. I have over 2 decades experience teaching yoga and meditation and yogic philosophy, my heart, my love to people just like you. I love talking to normal, everyday householder people because that's me also. Up until very recently, I had a full-time job as well as doing my entrepreneurial path. I have a house, I have a mortgage, I have a significant other, I have a fur baby, I have bills, I have other interests, I have other things I like to do outside of work. And I very much consider myself a householder. I'm also, on top of being a yoga instructor and a yoga expert and talking about the philosophy of yoga, I'm also a manifesting coach and kind of like a mindset coach. And that's a really new title for me, even though I've been doing it for quite some time. And manifesting, the way I do it now, is really new for me as well. And I've pulled from my past 2 decades of yogic work and research and study myself, and also from learning from other teachers and learning more like really recent and modern approaches to mindset training and life coaching and things like that. And pulling from all of these different sources, I now have my own flavor of manifesting. And if you're interested in that, you should join me inside MMM, which is the Manifesting Mastery membership. The doors are closed now, but we'll be opening again next year. It's a 4-month, incredible, life-changing membership. My life gets changed inside of that training as well. So we all benefit. Yeah, that's me in a nutshell. And what I'm really passionate about is helping folks like you reclaim your power through fun, through play, through joy. And I also am very passionate about helping people feel all of their fears and sadness in the sort of shadowy, muddy parts of life and understand that they are able to be in that space and still stay rooted and radiant. And so I like to talk about mindset hacks and philosophy that can help you stay, like I said, rooted and radiant while you're going through some really heavy shit sometimes and through really uncertain times. So if you like all that, I bet you'll like this podcast. So thanks for listening. If you're a longtime listener, thanks for listening to the intro. And maybe you learned a little bit about me too. Let's talk about today's episode. And I'll intro it with, this is a topic that I continuously learn about. And I didn't think I was going to talk about this today, but it relates to the entrepreneurial path that I'm on. And it relates, I think, to just everyone. Because at some point or another, you feel like an imposter. Imposter syndrome is so wild and crazy, and it's really paralyzing. If you've never experienced it, I don't know how, first of all. But I also feel like while I'm talking, I'm going to look it up because I never Googled the actual meaning. But if you've never felt imposter syndrome, I don't know how you've avoided that. Probably you're not putting yourself out there in uncomfortable situations. I bet you that's it. You're probably someone who really likes to stay comfortable and you're never taking risk, which you're not going to enjoy this podcast because I'm going to push every fucking button you have. But if you are enjoying this podcast so far and you're one of my listeners, you are probably someone who's felt imposter syndrome. And I first and foremost just want to say to you, I see you and I hear you and I get it. And it sucks, doesn't it? Because I'm also someone who has felt imposter syndrome a lot before in the past. Now, the skills, the mindset training, the radical rituals I do, which is my special type of morning ritual that I do every day, has genuinely and honestly freed me from imposter syndrome. Now, it does creep in every now and again. I'm human. I have deep wounds like you do. There's deep trauma. There's trauma because of things that have happened to me in my lifetime, but we also hold ancestral trauma that comes along in the DNA. It's pre-baked in. And to some degree, there's not a lot we can do about it, but there is a way of being in the world that allows you to watch for the symptoms of imposter syndrome. And when you feel it creeping in, I want to hand you in this episode some ways of thinking about it and ways of really just like unboxing it, and unpack it a little, and also just feel into what the hell you can do about it and how to switch your mindset so that you can erode the imposter and feel your confident self coming through. So if that sounds helpful to you, stick around. I've got a great episode for you. Okay, so let's look at a definition first. So I just Googled this, first thing that came up. Imposter syndrome is loosely defined as doubting your abilities and feeling like a fraud. Ah, man, I literally want to cry reading that. And I seriously, because I identify with that, right? Like I actually feel when I read that sad for the parts of Kim who have felt that way in the past, because it's so real and it's so tender and it's so hard to recover from those moments, because you literally take on the identity of being a fraud and you believe that that's who you are, and then it just cripples you. Like I was terrified. I want to give you an example. In my previous job, although I rocked it and they literally were like going to make me a new position at the company, and I was told all the time, "You're doing great, like wow, just amazed by your work." I felt inside in many ways like a fraud. And part of that was because I didn't get my degree in the exact thing I was doing, which was UX design, user experience design. I got my degree, my master's degree in human computer interaction, which is a lot more philosophy, some tech based, but research. It was prepping me to become more of a researcher. So when I didn't want to do that, when I didn't want to go into another 3, 4, 5 years of schooling, when I wanted to get back out there and start making some money, quite honestly, and paying back these bills and just living a little bit, getting out of the bubble of academia, because man, it's a bubble. I decided that I was going to get a job, and I landed this amazing job after an internship and as a UX designer. Like I said, I it not only was a new role for me, it was my first time being in a corporate job. It was my first time being in a corporate tech job. So I was learning things like sprints and agile scrum management, and just like Kanban boards. And if these words mean nothing to you, don't worry about it. It's just me saying there's a lot of jargon, a lot of way of being that's very helpful. KPIs, etc. I use KPIs in my business now, key performance indexes, and like there's a lot of helpful things, tremendous helpful things that I was able to learn from that job. But every day I felt like I was learning something new. And that's exciting, but it also can overwhelm the nervous system. At some point, you do want to feel like you're an expert in what you're doing. So every day, I had to not only learn my job, but learn the structure of the job, like the 2 week cycle, sprint cycle, and Kanban board, and communication style. And I worked with a variety of personality types, which actually is where I succeeded. I do really well at mediating and the meeting of the minds and making sure that everyone's heard. But anyway, I'm kind of getting on a little tangent here, but what I'm saying is that I never felt at ease in my job. And I think that that underlying current of energy made it really easy for me to also feel like I didn't know what the fuck I was doing and doubt myself, doubting your abilities, and then feeling like a fraud. It's really hard to feel authentic and confident when you're constantly doubting yourself. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that every day, all day long, I felt like a fraud. There were definitely moments towards the end before I left, actually, where I was starting to feel very authentic. And I attribute that to the radical rituals. Again, my morning rituals that awakened my confidence. I was originally going to make this podcast about my radical rituals, but I think I'm going to save that for next week. But I just want to say to you this. I was craving, my soul was craving a routine that would awaken confidence because I knew deep down I was a confident person. I'm going to turn my light down here. This light is bugging me out. Sometimes it just gets so bright. I don't know if you guys ever feel that. And I just feel like overstimulated. It's like a moth to the flame. I like can't see you guys or concentrate on what I'm saying because I just see this ring of really pretty light. Oh, take me to your leader, right? So let me turn that down and then I can concentrate. So, and there we go. I totally lost my train of thought. Sorry, guys. But yes, I was craving a routine that would allow me to feel confident because I knew what confidence felt like. I had roles before, jobs before, where I felt rock solid in my abilities to be a leader, to be the expert, especially within the yoga world after years of teaching. And I missed that. And now, had I stuck with it, if I still was there now, if I continued 5 more years, would I eventually feel like the expert? Hell yeah. I know that. I know that. But for other reasons that we don't need to get into this podcast, I've talked about it before, the universe called me forward in a different direction. And also through radical rituals, I was getting really clear on who I was and what my talents and gifts were and how important it was that I actually stepped back into that role fully, not only for myself, but for other people, for service of other people. I want to pause there and say to you that any dream, any desire that you have, the goals that you have selected you. There's an incredible quote by Matthew McConaughey, which says, he said, oh, I hope I can remember. It's really simple. It's like the target attracts the arrow. The target attracts the arrow. And the thinking there is the target, which is like the goal that you want to do, the thing you want to do in life. At first, we think we're bringing it into existence. That's our baby. That's our brain or heart child. That's our calling. That's our dharma. And it's up to us to convince other people, to convince ourselves that we're supposed to be doing that. But in this thinking, if you like that quote, let's explore it a little more. I love it because it's something that we teach inside MMM too, which is if you're feeling something, you are being called to take action on it because it's meant for you. So, in other words, the target, the thing that you want, quite possibly might already exist somewhere inside of the universe, but it needs you, the arrow, to hit the target. And in hitting it, what we're symbolically saying is that we're going to be the one that gets to manifest it into physical form, into the world. Isn't that cool? So the target already exists. It's like if you read Happy Pocket Full of Money, which you should, and then The Science of Getting Rich, I think that's the name of it. That's another incredible book that really has a lot to do with the metaphysical world. It has a lot to do with quantum physics. And if you're like, why does getting wealthy, what does that have anything to do with quantum physics? You guys, if you're even wondering, that I'm going to tell you the reason you're not wealthy, the reason you have no idea how to handle money, the reason you have no idea what money is even about is because you need to understand quantum physics, okay? And one of the things you're going to learn inside those books is that the universe is a living thing. It's an intelligence. And it has ideas just like you and I have ideas. And it has a desire in a sense, not in a desire like you and I desire chocolate cake or whatever, but It's a desire to be recognized and to have its ideas manifest. It's the creational force of all of life. And so sometimes it manifests in terms of natural environment. Sometimes it gets manifested in terms of human beings, like when we're born, what a miracle that is. But other times it's ideas. And it literally needs someone to carry it out. Otherwise, it doesn't get manifested. And then that dream will die with you until there's someone else who's born that gets to hear the song of their vision. Do you know what I'm saying? And then it's up to you to awaken, to move past imposter syndrome, to embrace with zero doubt that you are the one that gets to carry this vision forward. You are the arrow. So Matthew McConaughey says, is that how you say his last name? McConaughey? McConaughey? Matthew McConaughey. I think that's it. He says, the target attracts the arrow. So again, the target, your goal, your dream, your calling already exists. So it's actually not up to you. It already exists, but it's needing you as a partner to be the one that gets to materialize it. And how you get to materialize it and to what degree is all up to you. But regardless of that, you're the one that gets to take action. So listen, lean into this 100%, because if you are doubting any of your ability right now, it's because you believe you have to be the arrow and you're seeing some target that no one else sees. But I'm telling you right now that the universe has already created it. The universe is holding this idea there, and it has chosen you, selected you based on your attributes, based on your mind body type, based on your human design, based on your karma, based on your dharma, based on your genetic makeup, based on who you're destined to fucking be. You have already been chosen to fulfill a destiny, a desire. And how do you know what it is? You feel it in your heart. It's that fuck yes feeling. It's that holy shit, I can't wait to talk about X, Y, and Z today. Oh my God, I talk about this for free all day long. Or this is the thing I always get compliments on. People are like, oh my God, you're so good at this. You're so natural at this. You're fucking fabulous at this. Those are the things that you should be doing. We often get discouraged and think it needs to be the complicated thing or the thing we're not good at. But often it's a thing you've been doing all the time that you don't even think it's a thing you can monetize. You don't even think it's a thing that should become a business. I'm going to give you an example right here, right now. Manifesting. You guys, I never in a million years, never, wasn't even on my blueprint, my manifesting board. It wasn't on any agenda of mine that I would start to make money, real revenue off of manifesting, teaching people the skill of manifesting. But I was doing manifesting all along, radical rituals, activated dancing, activated journaling, visualization techniques, all along every morning. And it quickly, radically, what I call radical rituals, radically transformed me into this different person where I was actually able to take inspired action and left this job I was telling you about where I felt like an imposter most of the time and stepped fully into my role as a manifesting coach, as a yoga leader again. And now running 2 businesses, my brick and mortar location, the studio, but also everything I do online with my memberships, digital courses, etc. That's what manifesting does. It gets you there. And so then finally, when I was listening to a couple of my teachers, listening to some friends, and they're like, I just feel stuck. I feel unmotivated. I lost my drive. I lost my power. I just want to feel some semblance of me again, the old me, the person that has hopes and dreams and or the people that were just like, God, I'm just so curious about my life. Why do I behave this way? Why don't I behave that way? I really relate to people who have like curiosity about life and themselves, and they want to learn, they want to better themselves. And that's you, you're my people 100%. And that's where I started to go, well, I've got this thing I've been doing. You might like it. And they're like, oh, really? What is it? I'm like, well, it's called, I guess it's my morning radical ritual. It's really fun. It's really funky. But you got to get up early. I'll teach you how to do it. And I started doing that. I did that with a couple of my teachers. 5:30 a.m. We met over Zoom for a week. transformed their lives. They got a lot out of it. Then I realized after their feedback and how incredibly fun it was for me to teach them. And again, it was easy. It was a thing I was fabulous at. It didn't even feel like a thing I should monetize because I was just like, yeah, like really this thing I've been doing every morning is what you're interested in? Like, no, like I thought I was going to have that, which is going to be a tool, a vehicle to get me to teach some other things. But it's turning out that this manifesting is the thing I want to do all the time. So they were like, you need to charge. You need to do this all the time. You need to share this with the world. And I was like, I do. And then I was like, oh my God, I do. Yeah, I'll fucking do this. So now I did the 5-day. Oh, so it was manifesting 101. Then I did a 5-day manifesting challenge. And that turned into a 2-week manifesting mastery course. And now there's 17 people inside manifesting mastery membership. And there's even going to be a day retreat coming up soon, etc. Like this is just going to keep going. I have visions for an ebook, etc. There's just going to be a lot. And next year it's going to be the same thing and it's going to build and build and build. You guys, and I mention this because the thing that's calling you is often the thing you're already doing. And it's the thing that you do really well. That is what the universe is saying to you. That's the thing you should be doing. You're the arrow. You already do it really well. You're already in alignment with it. Now, there may be something down the road you're going to change. We're human beings. We change. You're going to have more than one calling. That's just how it goes. And you're allowed to leave a calling and go to the next calling. You're totally allowed to do that. I've done that a couple different times in a couple different forms. I'm in my next calling right now. So be open to that and know that you could totally shift callings whenever, because the target might change, but you're always going to be that arrow for the right target. When you're in that state of understanding that your target already exists and you're being called forward, imposter syndrome vanishes instantly because you don't need any longer validation from other people. You don't need buy-in from friends and family. You're in fucking alignment with the one, with source, the universe. Hello. What other validation do you need? What other validation could there possibly be that would trump that would exceed that 100% confidence and alignment? The thing is, most people will get that. You're going to hear this in the podcast. You're like, yeah, I get it. But you're not going to put it into action, or you're not going to remind yourself daily. That's where these radical rituals come in. You have to root yourself into this knowing every single day that the target already exists. You are the arrow. You're the one that gets to call this vision forward. Okay? This is the thinking that's going to get you out of imposter syndrome. So I want to go back to the definition for a second. Doubting your abilities. Okay, so let's talk about that and break it down. You have doubt because either one, you've never seen it happen before the way you think you want it to happen, or you have too many other times where the opposite have happened and you failed. And so you're looking at all the evidence of where you failed. So let's say I wanted to pick up skateboarding again, which I've been thinking about doing. Now, if I doubt my abilities, it's either because one, I've never skateboarded before. I have no evidence. I have no physical embodiment of the experience and it going well. So I'll just doubt right there. Boom, doubt. Or I've skateboarded before and I was awful. Maybe I fell a lot. Maybe people made fun of me. Maybe too many people. I was worried about other people's reaction. Remember why are you skateboarding? You're almost 40, right? Like those are two scenarios which would lead to doubt. Do you feel me on that? But I actually don't have those experiences at all. I could totally get on a skateboard and go right now. I'd be nervous. I'd be like, whoa, you might see me with a helmet on and some knee pads and elbow pads and maybe a mouth guard, and definitely pants on because I'm expecting to fall. But I will have remembered, I will have recalled that the last time that I skateboarded, I actually did very well. It wasn't great. But I certainly didn't know any tricks, but your girl could kick, push, and move and groove a little bit and go toe and heel and do a little cutting on the pavement. Okay. So I looked pretty cool skateboarding. That was the goal, by the way, just to look cool. So, I could do that. I succeeded. I not only was skateboarding and I was cool doing it. So I'll actually recall that actually I did really well. So I'm not going to doubt myself. But let's use another example. And this is what comes up for me a lot: public speaking. That's like a number one fear for everyone. Why do I doubt myself as a public speaker? That's because somewhere along the way, I had a lot more evidence that when I sweat, when I break out in hives and get red, when I shake, when I get nervous, these are all, I've misinterpreted those as signs that I should not be public speaking or that I'm not good. When in fact, I'm actually really good at public speaking. And I've been told that. But my nervous system and its response, the fear response, I've weighed that too heavily. And so the evidence is there where I mistakenly believe for a very long time that because I have all these negative physical reactions to speaking, the nervousness, the hives, the rashes, the headaches afterwards, the blood pressure spike, the shaking, the nausea, that whole reaction, which is a physical effect of imposter syndrome, by the way. I paid so much attention to that. That's the evidence my brain has that I'm going to not like this experience. And because I don't like the experience, I probably won't be a good public speaker. And so now when I go to public speak, when I do even Zoom calls, when I'm doing like my own workshops, I have to really, before I hit play or open up the Zoom call, I have to anchor into my why. I have to self coach myself and tell myself I'm a great speaker. And it's not about me, it's about the message. It's about you, the students learning. It's about them. It's about giving. It's about love. It's about service. And I have to get myself into that headspace so that I don't even look at the evidence, because otherwise I will doubt that I can do it. Marriage is another one. I had a failed marriage before and went through a divorce. Luckily, I mourned well through that, and I healed really well so that I can go in to, and I have a fantastic, amazing relationship with Brandon, right? He's a keeper. I love this relationship so much. Absolutely satisfies me on all levels. But a lot of people go through divorce and they don't want to love again. They're terrified. They doubt that they will ever be loved or lovable or be able to love again, let alone get married. Why? It's because they're looking at all the times it didn't go well instead of looking at all the times it did go well. Or maybe it's instead of just really just sticking your neck out there and trying again. So to get over doubt, we actually have to do the opposite. We have to stack up the evidence that it will go well. So I'm going to show you and tell you how to do that right now. Even if you have a lot of evidence that things will not go well, even if you have a lot of failed relationships, even if you have bankruptcy, even if you have failed careers, even if you have failed art projects, even if you have failures everywhere, I'm still going to show you right now how to increase your odds of feeling like you're not a failure, how to decrease your doubt and go forward anyhow. And this is a psychological technique that sports psychologists use with their injured athletes. What they'll do is they'll have the athlete sit down and relax their body with some breathing techniques. Then they'll ask the athlete to start to visualize the day from the moment they get up, eating breakfast, maybe making a phone call, checking some emails. Maybe then they go to the gym. Maybe then they're washing their car. I don't know. They going grocery shopping. And then finally they're getting to the point where they're on the court again. And then they're lacing up their sneakers or dribbling the ball, whatever the sport may be. And then we're getting close to the point where their nervous system's like, whoa, 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 you got injured on the court doing exactly this. Put the ball down. They, get out of this dream, immediately get out. But no, what they slowly do, it's like exposure-based therapy, is they start to see themselves dribbling the ball and executing some shots and actually succeeding. And then they do it again. Okay, do it again. Visualize it like a movie playing out. Get up the next day, have your breakfast, have your coffee, go through your routines, go to the gym, then get to the court, lacing up your sneakers, dribbling the ball, and then you win the game, right? And no injury. You're succeeding. You have like 40 points that game, something insane. And then we do it again and again and again and again. You guys are getting it, right? This is a way of recalibrating the brain. A lot of the neurons were wired before to fire quickly in this injured athlete's brain that said, hey, Don't do that again. You got injured. That's a big negative. I'm going to really make sure the brain is wired for survival, you guys. It's going to make sure that you really remember what not to do to get hurt, to almost die again. But that can stunt our physical, spiritual, financial, and emotional goals. It can literally freeze us, lock us into the past where we don't progress. We don't want that, right? So we need to be able to implement these sort of visualization strategies where you're actually seeing your life going right to the source of the fear, but then seeing it not going bad, but actually going great, even better than imagined. And then we repeat that over and over again. What you're doing is you're giving the brain statistical evidence that it's actually going to go well. Remember, your brain doesn't know the difference between what is actually happening in reality right now in front of you and what you imagine is happening. That's the magic of the brain. It still feels the same, whether you're imagining it or it actually happens. So let's you leverage that, for crying out loud. Start to visualize what you want every single day, multiple times a day, and you're going to stack up the evidence that you are actually great at the thing that maybe you're doubting right now. So whatever it is you're doubting, you guys, whatever it is you have the imposter syndrome about, I want you to visualize yourself being amazing at it every single day, at least twice a day for 2 weeks. Then see how you're at. See where you're at with it. And not only visualize it, but feel the emotional response of success as well. That's really important. Don't just visualize it and be cold and like cut off from the mind and the body, but feel the emotional effects about it, okay? Okay. Let's continue with this definition for a second. So imposter syndrome is loosely defined as doubting your abilities and feeling like a fraud. It disproportionately affects high achieving people who find it difficult to accept their accomplishments. Interesting. Many question whether they're deserving of accolades. Okay, I can see that. Yep. All right. And I think I slipped into that a couple times before too, where you actually, even unconsciously, even on a subtle level, you can't accept compliments. So if someone says, great job, and you deflect with a, well, there is so many of us, I didn't really have a lot to do with it. Oh, there's, it's not just me, it's other people. And not even in a humility way, but you're literally deflecting it. Or if someone says, you look so beautiful today, or, oh my God, you're so strong, or whatever it is, you know, oh, all right. You're so awkward about it. You can't even say, well, thank you. I appreciate that. Being able to accept a compliment, being able to accept praise is someone else loving you. And you're actually helping that person to heal and transform and feel safe with giving praise to other people. If we don't accept and say thank you, other people's thank you or other people's praise, we actually teach them that it's not a good idea to shower other people with love. So we want to teach people that that's good. So you want to complete the cycle, complete that love cycle by saying thank you and receiving the gift of love. Okay. So that's really going to be important too, because guess what? That's going to help with the point I just made of doubt, because you're going to start to hear people thanking you. Really hear it. Let it sink in. Let it sink in, because let me tell you what, this is so important in my business too, you guys. My work is about deeply helping people to transform their lives and their thinking and their behavior. Along the way, when there are successes, people thank the shit out of me. And at first, I was like, no, like it's just the work you're doing. And I took the yogic way out, which is be humble and don't have an ego and don't let people thank you and don't accept any of the gratitude because it's not about you in the first place. And I so feel differently about that now. I realize, one, that there's nothing wrong with me accepting a compliment. It actually fuels me up. It actually helps my heart to grow. I feel so happy to accept the love gift that someone is giving me of their thank you, because I know truly it's coming from a place where they feel such love and gratitude for the services I've offered. And I've been in that role. I've been transformed by people before, and I thank them. I want my thank you to be received because I'm giving them a gift. Like if you give someone a gift and they don't say thank you, what do you think? You're like, what? what a jerk, right? What the hell, man? I gave you a gift. And this was like not only just any gift you bought, when people say sincerely thank you or they give you praise, they're giving you a gift from their fucking soul, from their heart. You better learn to say thank you because not only are you respecting them in the act, in the moment, but you are respecting yourself. You are respecting yourself. And you're modeling for that person that you can say thank you. You can receive that gift. And it doesn't make you egotistical. It doesn't make you self serving. It doesn't make you cut off from other people. In fact, the more love I allow myself to receive, the less I doubt myself. And the less I doubt myself, the less I have imposter syndrome. Do you see that connection, you guys? Allowing yourself to receive love and praise and compliments from other people is going to help you feel more confident about yourself. Now, of course, we want to be aware that we don't always need external validation. There is a difference between validation, you needing validation, you seeking it, and you receiving it. You seeking validation is a symptom of not feeling confident, which is a symptom of imposter syndrome, etc. So we're talking about the other avenue here, which is when you're doing good in the world, when you're showing up as your authentic self, you are receiving compliments from people. That is a cycle of love. You receiving and saying, thank you so much. Here, and I'll give you an example. When someone tells me now, I just got off the phone with my friend Jackie, and she gave me an awesome compliment text and also over the phone, a voice she goes, I'm just loving your podcast. But also in text, she was like, again, you just spoke right to my heart. And Jackie, like a couple of you guys are like my avid listeners, and you all say the same thing. I told her, thank you. It means so much to me. So I said, thank you. And then I followed up with a why her thank you affected me. And this is a great exercise for myself because it helps me to let it sink in. So you guys use this, borrow this technique, please, where when you hear someone say like, I love what you just did, or I love how you just whatever, I love how you look, or I love how you said that, I love this, what you just did, or you're so strong, you're so whatever, go, thank you. That means a lot to me. You know, when you say that, it reminds me that I'm doing this in service of others. And that fills my cup and means everything to me because I could just be speaking to this microphone selfishly, but knowing that you are out there hearing this and really getting a lot out of this is what makes me come alive and makes me feel so loved. So thank you for sharing that with me. Do you see how like beautiful that was? Do you feel that in my words? So I actually allowed myself to, with my hand on my heart here, receive Jackie's praise. And it hit me in such a loving, supportive way, not in a mental, egoic way, like, oh, yeah, I know I'm so great. No, I let it hit my heart and I let it remind me. Her thank you, her praise was a reminder that I'm the arrow, that this target that's out there is existing for me to follow through with, just like it's existing for you to follow through with. So let's recap here. I'm going to wrap it up because I want this to be clear and succinct. We could keep talking. I could keep talking about this forever. But one, we want to eradicate imposter syndrome, not by just trying to ignore it. We don't want to fight it, but we want to look to other methodologies. And the two methodologies, I think I gave you two. Let's go back through it and see if I maybe gave you three. But the first thing is establishing a daily routine where you are anchoring into your highest yes, where you are feeling like you're having fun and you're enjoying yourself. And that raises your energy level. So make sure you have a daily practice. I do a radical ritual, but you guys can Google daily practices all the time. Quick side note, I will be having a Radical Ritual Blueprint course that's coming out soon. So if this interests you, keep an eye out. I will be able to absolutely get you started on doing exactly what I do every single day to radically transform your thinking and your thoughts and your behavior. So that's coming up. Be on the lookout for the Radical Ritual Blueprint. So number one, get a daily routine in that's going to allow you to feel amazing and feel really good about yourself. Okay. And the other thing you want to do is psychology. Think about your connection to the universe and that the universe has the target already there. And because you're feeling a calling, that means you're the arrow. You're the fucking arrow for that target. So if you're going about your day and you're being that arrow and you're making moves and you're starting your podcast, you're emailing people, you're taking moves to maybe go after someone that you love, or you're actually leaving someone that you thought you loved, and you're leaving a job, or you're moving, or you whatever it is that seems scary but you're feeling compelled and called to do, you've got the backing of the universe, you guys. You don't need any more validation. You don't need to second guess it. You just go. You're the arrow. Be the arrow. Flow towards your target. You're meant to do that, okay? And I did give you three things. And the three thing is, when we look at doubt, doubt is like the precursor of our imposter syndrome. Remember that the reason you have doubt is because, one, you've never done it before. So in that case, you should just do it and then figure out if you're good or bad at it, right? And if you're bad at it, that means you probably should just Google how to get better. Whatever you're bad at, you can always get better at that. Oh my God. Please don't accept that you're a failure at something. You can always level up your skills in something, okay? So one, maybe you just need to try it before you doubt yourself. But two, maybe you've tried something similar or just like it, like my skateboarding example in the past. Maybe you fell a lot while you skateboarded. Or maybe you have some childhood wound where like you tried something and you fell and you broke a bone. And we've got these fears, these level of fears that are the evidence that we might not be successful again if we try. And that's okay. That's there to keep you alive. But in some cases, that can prevent us from living. So we want to start to stack the evidence that we're really great at something that initially scares the shit out of us. And that's where that evidence-based training, that sports psychology example I gave you, where you're actually going through and seeing yourself make the shots. You're actually going through and seeing yourself ask that person out on a date and they say, yeah, and then you guys fall in love and make babies, etc. Or maybe you see yourself starting that business, but you keep going and you see it be incredibly successful and you're listed on the Forbes 500 list and you are making millions of dollars and see yourself be incredibly successful. See it all the way through to the end and dream big, you guys. Dream big and let it fill your body with hell yes energy. And then repeat that every single day in point number one, your morning ritual. That's going to start to stack the evidence and knock doubt to the curb and show you that, in fact, you are someone who can do it. It'll eradicate for you, it'll implode, it will dissolve any feelings of imposter syndrome. But again, we must make a practice of it, make a practice of stacking the evidence that you can do it. Remember that you are the arrow. All right, you guys, thank you so much for listening. I deeply, deeply hope this serves you, and I love you so very much. I am so grateful for you listening, and I see you, and I feel you, and I am just deeply honored to be on this path with you. Thank you, and I will see you next time.